Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jeff DeVerter, Chief Technology Evangelist here at Rackspace Technology, and welcome back to Cloud Talk Live, folks. I was off for a whole week, spring break around these parts. My son was home from college, and I didn't come to work, which was great. Everyone needs a break, but I'd love to know who's here today. You just saw the reminder. Introduce yourself in the comments. Love to know who you are. Love to know where you are and join the conversation. We've got Holly Windham coming up here shortly, and really excited to have this conversation. You're gonna really enjoy it. You're gonna enjoy getting to meet her. If you want to get a hold of us over here at the Solve program, Rackspace's thought leadership program, you can do that by emailing solve@rackspace.com. What do you like? What do you don't like? Got any ideas for content? You want to fill us in on something that you're hearing? This is your way to do it. So send a note to us over at solve@rackspace.com. I'd love to hear from you. And Star from the UK is the first person who's in today. Welcome, Star. I'm so glad that you are here. Well, folks, as always, all of the information for that we present in here, whether it's a link to the LinkedIn for our guest or any of the news or updates from the cloud providers, you can find that over at rackspace.com/solve. This is episode 104. Folks, when it made it up into the triple digits a couple of weeks ago, and we're just racing through. And this is going to be a full week of content, by the way. We had a podcast come out yesterday with Rob Jackson on security. You can find that. Same place you can find the audio for this event, and that's at rackspace.com/solve/104, or just subscribe to the Cloud Talk podcast. And all the audio shows up there. Susan is here. Susan, I'm so glad you made it back. We're going to send you a Cloud Talk hat, I think, because you are a regular. Pratik from India is here. Lokesh from India, and Sahib from India. We have a great turnout from India. Fun fact, I do look at all of the data from the folks who attend, and all our friends in India are about to outnumber all the people from San Antonio who watch. We've got a cloud associate from Rackspace in the UK. Glad that you are here. Hey, quick reminder, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency still has the shields up. So you know what that means. Go over to www.cisa.org and /shields-up and learn about how you can be prepared and all of the tools that are there. We've got Sean Gardner back. Sunil is here, and someone from Venezuela. I'm not sure as we've had someone from Venezuela before. Hey guys, I was gone for a week, and guess what? We made some changes. You know, if we think about the format, if you're a regular around here like Sean or like Susan, you know that I'm about to roll into doing some news from the cloud and then cloud updates. And then eventually we'll get around to our guest. Not anymore. No. We're actually brought the guest to the front. And so we're excited. I'm excited about that. And as you know, we are in the middle of March's Women in Tech Month here at Cloud Talk. If you want to see the upcoming schedule for who's going to be here, we have got an amazing guest coming up on Thursday as well from over at App Dynamics. Or to listen to any of the episodes from previous here in March, you can go over to rackspace.com/solve women tech 2022. I bet you Megan or Daniel can pop that link down in the chat for everybody. Hey, we've got a friend from Brazil is here. Megan, of course, she's here at the castle today. Awesome. Well, as we get into it today, I have the distinct pleasure of bringing up Holly Windham. Now, Holly is Executive Vice President, Chief Legal Counsel, Chief Legal and People Officer here at Rackspace. And I've been delighted to get to work with Holly over the past couple of years. And she's going to come up and spend some time with us today. So let's go ahead and bring Holly up onto the stage. Holly, welcome to Cloud Talk Live. Your first time.
My first time. Good morning, Jeff. Great to be here. So exciting to see all the people rolling in from all over the world. It's fantastic.
Oh, I know. We have an amazing worldwide audience here. We have this is thought leadership here at Rackspace. It means we're sharing everything that we see and we know, but we have a ton of Rackers that show up to these as well. So it's a great chance to get to talk to them as well. So thank you for taking time out of your crazy schedule to be with us today.
Great to be here. Great to be here.
Hey, Holly, I always have to ask this question of folks that I don't know this of. How did you get to Rackspace? How did you find your way here? What was it, about 5 years ago now?
Oh, it's an interesting story. So I was working at another technology company some people might have heard about. So
A little company?
a little company, now known as HPE, for many years. And a great friend of mine who I worked with there happened to have come to San Antonio
Hmm.
to work at Rackspace as the chief people officer. And they were looking for, at the time, a new general counsel. And she called me up and she said, you've got to come see this place. There's this amazing company. It's, on the verge of all great things in terms of cloud. And, really felt like her description was, it's like a grown-up startup.
Grown up startup.
Energy,
It's a good way to put it.
yeah, a grown-up startup. The energy, the progress, the innovation that's going on
Yeah.
here. Just come and talk to these people. So I actually came down and met the team here, and I immediately fell in love. Felt right at home, and knew I really kind of found my people.
Yeah.
And so the next few phases took a little bit longer, but eventually, about a year after that, I found my way into Rackspace. And Jeff, am coming up on my 5th-year anniversary in
Fifth
April.
year. You get your 5-year flag.
I'm going to get my flag. I can't wait.
That's awesome. I need to hang one of mine behind me, I guess, at one of these days. So I had my 5-year flag, and then I left just before the 10, and then came back and got the 10. But of course, we all went home for COVID, and
Yeah,
some things
yeah,
just didn't happen. So but that's
happens.
all right. So what is your favorite thing about being at Rackspace?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's so
And
many.
by the way, everybody, Holly had me send over some questions I was going to ask. This was not one of them. She is not prepared.
My favorite thing about being at Rackspace, it's got to be the people. I
Yeah.
mean, that sounds almost too easy to say as the chief people officer.
Right.
It's the collaborative spirit. I think we really live our core values, and I think you know, Rackers people are attracted to Rackspace, and we attract people to Rackspace that are sort of kindred spirits and like-minded. And by that, Jeff, I think you understand what I mean, because you kind of feel it.
Yeah.
But it's this idea that we're all in it together, whether
Mhm.
it's helping each other solve problems, helping our customers solve problems, working to develop new technology together. It's not hierarchical.
Yeah.
Everybody's accessible and everybody's on the team. And that's, I think, that's my favorite part about it. I get to interview a lot of people in my
Yeah.
role, and talk to them about whether Rackspace might be a good home for them. And sometimes they ask me, why are you still here after
Right. Yeah.
almost?
Coming up on 5 years. That's a while in tech.
Yeah. And I have to say, I feel like every day I can wake up and work with amazing people and make an impact in
It's a
whatever it
good
is
reason
I'm
to get
doing.
out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, Holly, we're here this month doing our focus on women in tech. It was National Women's History Month, and as the chief people officer, you have a great ability to impact how we make sure that we're well represented in all areas here at Rackspace. And I'm curious, just sort of where some of your passions are in there, and how you help influence and make sure sort of that everybody has a voice here at Rackspace.
Yeah. I think it's bottoms up and tops down, Jeff. I think the very first thing is, and somebody said this to me years ago when I was trying to figure out how to get a diversity and inclusion program really kind of running. And how do you do it? Do you set
Yeah.
metrics? Do you set goals? Where do you start?
Right.
And this very, very smart person said to me, you start by talking about it. You start by having the
It's
conversation.
great advice.
Yeah, you start by from the CEO all the way through the organization. It's just part of the conversation. So you're always talking about it. You're thinking about it, and it just becomes part of the fabric of
Mhm.
the company. Of course, we have we have it built into our strategy.
Yep.
We are executing on a diversity, inclusion, and belonging strategy that's trying to advance our diversity numbers. So we're tracking that. We talk about it on a regular basis in the leadership team, as well as with the company as a whole in our all hands meetings. It's everything from ensuring that we are looking at diverse candidates, making sure that when we have a role that's open, we're looking for diverse candidates in those panels, that we have diverse people interviewing on our side of the equation as we're selecting candidates. It's also just championing it. We have a new program where if an organization, if a manager has at least 50% female in their population, in their group, they get a special badge that they
Nice.
put on their emails and on their LinkedIn, that they're diversity champions. So it's making it fun and exciting as well. But it's something that doesn't just happen. You have to actually be focused and strategic about it. And I think we're very fortunate here that from the top, Kevin Jones is very passionate about inclusion and belonging. Just to share with the audience and one of the things I'm really proud of is this year we started an executive mentorship program. So every member of the executive leadership team actually has a female that they mentor here at Rackspace. So.
And are we being very programmatic about where in the organization? Are we looking for somebody just down a level or a skip level or several levels down? How do we go about that process?
It can be anyone. They're usually nominated by their manager that, hey, this is someone that's interested. I think this is someone who could really develop from this. So it's kind of manager selected.
That's great. So Susan Price, who I've known for the past, Susan, but 15 years, back when I used to work at USAA, and she and I were there together, and she asked the question, curious how we measure that DI&E here at diversity and inclusion here at Rackspace.
Yeah, we have several measures. So of course we measure our total population in terms of our diversity populations every year to see if we're making progress. Well, actually quarterly in some of our focus groups. Like I said, we start with our hiring to see how we're doing with our candidate pools and whether or not we're actually increasing the diversity of those pools. And then we also measure whether or not our panels are diverse for the interviewing process. So, we collect that data and we measure it over time.
Hey, John N. Gates, former Rackspace CTO and now CTO, Field CTO is on. So John, welcome. Glad to see you this morning. So Holly, you weren't always, in the leadership position like you are today. And I'm curious your experience as somebody who's worked in tech, obviously from a legal perspective, what your experience has been like. Tech is an environment that is traditionally has less female representation in it, and different organizations create different challenges. I've had some great responses from some of the ladies who have been on this month from Rackspace going, we really just don't even notice it. It's just a great place to work, which speaks a lot to our culture. But you've had, of course, lots of jobs outside of Rackspace. So curious your experience.
Yeah. Well, I've been around a while, Jeff. Kind of a long history here. I think, starting out as a young professional, I started out in the legal field where, it was predominantly, male. And then I moved into technology, and again, in a company that was predominantly, majority male. But I think I was fortunate to have male sponsors and mentors who brought me along and gave me opportunities and gave me exposure. I think the other side of that was that I was never hesitant to raise my hand and
That's
to
great.
volunteer.
Yeah.
and I think sometimes when you're in an environment and you're not sure what the next step is, you kind of hunker down.
Mhm.
And I think for me, what worked was actually just looking for opportunities, looking for ways to help, trying to take on something new, um, and getting that exposure along the way. I was also very fortunate to have some wonderful female mentors, some great managers along the way that also supported me. And one of the things I think we have here that I didn't get to experience was really these mentor circles. And,
Yeah.
here at Rackspace, we have our Racker resource group, Power,
Yeah.
for our women Rackers. I didn't have that kind of community. I really
Mhm.
had to rely on individuals. And I think it's fantastic that we really build community and are so that you have both the best of both worlds, right? You can have your individual path and you can have your community around you. And I think we work hard at doing that well here.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that Rackspace does extraordinarily well, and that is, there's a lot of structure in place to be able to support that, whether it's resource groups or official mentoring programs. But it's also a place that allows for bottoms up grassroots types of activities. I hear about stuff all the time of just individual groups that pull together, come up with an idea, pull together, and that ultimately, more times than not, becomes an official Rackspace policy, or not policy, but a group or a resource or an asset that others can capitalize on. And I've heard this month so much about the mentoring that goes on individually here, and I was delighted to hear this morning about how we now have a very official process about how the executive leadership team helps to mentor women coming up through the ranks. Your The comment that you made before about that you were never shy about raising your hand or about just looking for an opportunity and digging in. It's another area where, as I talk to more and more women this month here on the Women in Tech focus, is that they're not afraid to take on something new. In fact, we're going to have um, the a guest on Thursday. You guys are going to want to be a part of this. And I'm giving you a spoiler. She was interviewing for a role out of an individual contributor role from one company into leading a whole team in the US. And the gentleman she was interviewing with said, "Look, I believe you can do this. And everyone has something they're going to do for the first time. So I think you need to come do that here." And now she runs the whole globe for this particular area. And it
Well,
was very inspiring to hear. So, how do you help women who may be a little more shy about raising their hand or feel pigeonholed into one area to not be afraid to step out? How does that mentoring go about?
yeah. Well, of course, by nature, I'm actually an introvert, Jeff. Most people don't know that. but
You and me both. I'm
I
an extrovert by profession.
but I think that's part of what the mentoring, kind of the core of mentoring is helping people find their comfort level
Yeah,
and how to use their own talents and strengths
yeah,
to do it their way. Right? It doesn't one size doesn't fit all. And giving them kind of tools and coaching and helping them find what fits their comfort level, I guess is the answer. But part of it also, I think, we talk a lot about the difference between mentorship and sponsorship, but as a sponsor, you help people find those contacts, you help introduce them to that next mentor, that next
yeah.
person that can help them take that next step. I love what you just said about everybody does something for the first time, right?
Yeah.
It's helping them take that next step.
Give them that chance. All right, so we're coming to the end of our time with you, but I want to give you an opportunity to speak to. I've heard so many from these episodes. People are commenting back, going, "I'm going to show this to my 13-year-old daughter. I want them to hear these voices and these women." So let's talk to somebody who's a little younger. Let's talk to somebody in their teenage years, a female, about an opportunity in tech and things that they can maybe that you can encourage them around. And I think the first is, I'm going to speak for you, find a mentor. How can I find somebody who can help me along from where they are. But let's talk to that young woman who is thinking about it, what their careers are going to be, and what tech might afford them.
Yeah. So I think the first thing I would say is, go for it. Right. Don't shy away from the STEM classes. Really, we're seeing more and more young women go into STEM, but we still need. I mean, we still need more. We need to build that capability so that we have that wonderful funnel of women coming into technology. So start now and follow that path. Doesn't mean that you have to go into STEM to end up in technology.
That's
I
right.
was a sociology major,
Oh, wow.
so there are many roads that can lead to technology. But I think that don't sell yourself short. Find people that do what you think you might want to do.
Yeah.
Reach out to them. How do I do that? Like, I have kids, right? How do I do that, Mom?
Yeah.
Talk to your parents' friends, talk to your teachers, and ask your teachers to help you find
Yeah.
people to mentor with. Send LinkedIn messages. Find somebody on LinkedIn and follow them. Just be proactive about it. And one thing I always like to say as well is, people love to help.
They really do.
So, don't be shy about that, right? It's not
Yeah.
like you're asking for something, because they're going to get something back from you as well.
Mhm.
And so give them that opportunity. Give
Yeah.
them that opportunity to help you.
Well, one bit of advice I gave to my kids as well, especially as they're thinking, what do I want to go do with my life, is come up with a series of questions that you might want to know about any profession, and utilize your friends' parents' network, use your parents' network,
Mhm.
and just do some informal interviews with them. Say, can I have 15 minutes? I want to ask you some questions. You're over at a friend's house, you whatever, make the connection, and just learn what it's like a day in the life of somebody else's job, and it'll give you a sense of, is that something you want to do? Because there isn't anything that they can't do. So it's
That's
the
right.
world is open to them. So,
That's absolutely right.
Holly, thank you so much for taking time out of your day today. This was great to have you on. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here at Rackspace and leading us in our legal and people teams.
Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Jeff. Good
You
talking with
bet. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, everyone. So that takes us out of our time. Holly, it was just a great conversation, folks. If you don't know Holly, connect with her on LinkedIn. She is as delightful as what you just heard. You will enjoy getting to talk to her. If you're a racker, you heard Holly talk about how everyone is approachable. Make sure you just reach out internally. Don't feel afraid that hey, they're 3 or 4 levels ahead of me. It doesn't matter. We want to help. And if you're not at Rackspace and you want to be, we're going to talk about jobs here shortly. Also, if you're looking for work, make sure you're getting into a company that has this level of openness. You're going to be a lot happier once you are. So, hey, if you want to learn about life at Rackspace, there's that link on one of these sides of my screens. All right. With that, again, I'm going to remind you that all of the information that we share here can be found. We share this on the podcast channel. All the audio for this will go out a little later today. You have to subscribe, going over to, but you can get the link to it over at rackspace.com/solve/104. We will not sell to you on that page. We only will sell is great information. Also, you can subscribe to the podcast. I'd love for you to do that. Just had a great episode come out on security. And the one that comes out next, I'm not sure if it's going to be Friday or Monday, but soon, is with Srini Koshak. He is Rackspace's new CTO. And I think you're really going to enjoy that. All right. Well, we've gotten through our cloud discussion. Look at that, 24 minutes in. I better hustle up here, folks. So let's get into this week in cloud. What's new in the cloud news? Ooh, this one's controversial, at least as far as concerned. So an article out at Tech Radar in cloud migration, why regulation matters. The whole point of this article gets into the fact that because there is so much that's now been moved into the public clouds, should those clouds be regulated? Because outages have very big impact. Should there be rules about where financial services firms can be, and do they have to be in more than one cloud? So this person Sebastian has a very his viewpoint is they should be. But I'd be curious to know what your opinion is. Are you on the more free market side and regulated, or do you think that it's too big to not be at this point? It's a conversation we're going to be having, I think, now forever, because of the fact that everything's moved out into the cloud. Also in the news, we move to the government space and public sector cloud. It's time to make the switch. Now, this article deals specifically with ERP. I encourage you to go check that out. Obviously, encouraging the move to public sector has been one that's been a little slower to move into the cloud. Point of this article is and gives some very good points, again, specifically to ERP, why it's time to make that shift. Cool. All right. So with that, we'll now get into the updates in cloud releases. Some interesting things from the cloud this week, guys. AWS backup is now available down in Jakarta. We just talked a few months ago about how they opened up Jakarta. Now they're starting to throw more and more services into there. And so this, again, I've said it 100 times. It's one of the things that I love about these hyperscale cloud providers. Doesn't matter which one. They're not just throwing stuff against the wall to see if it sticks. They're throwing stuff out there and they're building on it and improving on it. And guys, there's a strong recognition of the fact that not every region and every region for every provider is the same. So make sure as you're building out your solutions that you make sure that the services you need are available in the regions you do. And keep an eye if they aren't, because they probably will be in not too distant future. With that, we're over to Azure. Azure now you can now connect and manage devices in Azure IoT Central without first creating a model, which is very helpful. Allows you to do more prototyping a lot faster, as well as getting new devices online faster. So go over to rackspace.com/solve/104 to go to that article and learn more about it. And also, if you're interested in managing the slot and the financial end of your BigQuery a little bit tighter, well, I'd encourage you to go check out what's new from BigQuery. Slot Recommender is now available in preview. In other words, you can connect to their API and it will recommend which slots you should actually be using to get the best financial performance. So check that out. Hey, Susan asked a question. In Web3 world, regulations would have to be applied across countries to be effective. No, more like treaties. Interesting point that you bring up. So that's actually already happening, Susan. So when you think about financial services in the UK, they have regulations now that if you are, and here's the catch, how they're pulling this off, is if you are a business that is centered in or headquartered in the UK, doing services in the UK, then they can put these stipulations on it. If you're not, you're not. So, but I think this really will be an interesting, Susan, thing to watch, and I think treaties is probably one of those things. But that, of course, also only goes so far. Can we say Russia? Can we say China? I don't think they're gonna. That's a harder one to deal with. Let me just put it that way. All right, you want to get any of this information, go over to rackspace.com/solve/104. We only sell information, and that doesn't cost anything there. Last up is the Rackspace job of the day. So we have a lot of folks that come in from the UK. I thought, why not share a job in the UK? We are looking for a software developer for ServiceNow, a sharp one. So software developer 4, this isn't going to be your first rodeo. Go check that out. You'll be in charge of all things ServiceNow, making sure the platform's great, adding new services and capabilities, making sure the ones that are there are running well. If you go over to rackspace.com/solve/104, you're going to find a link to that job. Also, if you subscribe to the Cloud Talk podcast, you'll get the audio from this and all of the others, plus the podcast itself. That is a podcast that comes out weekly. Again, this week, Rob Jackson came out yesterday. Rob's a senior product manager on the security team, and we talk about security through the whole IT ages and how that helps create a great point of view and a way to view your technology and your security for your technology today. So I encourage you to go check that out. Great conversation with Rob. And again, coming up either Friday or next week, depends who wins the argument, the arm wrestle, Daniel or I, when we put that one out. But there's a lot of content coming this week. What else is coming this week? Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow, Srini Kaushak, new Rackspace CTO, is going to be on Rackspace Live at 12:30 Central tomorrow. Find that on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter, 12:30 Central. And then we have the global leader for App Dynamics coming on the Women in Tech episode on Thursday. You're going to want to be here for that. Engaging woman. You're going to love getting to meet Angela. So I hope that you will be here for that. Everyone, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think about the new format, saving the news and such to the end and putting the interviewer in the front. Give me a comment if anyone's still here. Who knows? I'll have to go check the news and the stats a little later today and see who stuck around when. With that, everyone, I hope you have an amazing day, and we're back again tomorrow at 12:30 Central Time, and then on Thursday at 8:30 Central. So Rackspace Live tomorrow and Cloud Talk Live on Thursday. Have an amazing day, everybody.